Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan, alongside me, as always, in his new place of business, the Oh Captain, My Captain, the Jolly Roger, the Kingslayer himself, Josh Finney. Hi, Josh.
Hi, Corey. It has... Trevor, I'm saying it. You don't even have to expect it. It's been like a fucking month, man.
A whole
Not
month.
a week. It's been a whole ass month.
A whole month, he says.
I'm so tired, dude. I sat on my aunt's couch for like 5 minutes this afternoon while I was running a load of laundry, and I just completely fell asleep. And she thought she was doing me a favor. She's like, I woke up at like 6:30 and was like, oh shit, I gotta go, because I had like a 35-minute drive home. And she was like, well, you fell asleep like an hour and a half ago, and I just kind of let you sleep. I was like, no, I have to go. I still have to eat on the way home. So, yeah, I'm very tired, but I've actually gotten good sleep the last 2 nights. We're in the new place. My thermostat is fucked up, so my AC will not turn off at all, which is a problem. At first it was too hot, and then I got the temperature to go down, and now it just won't turn off. So my energy bill is still sky high.
Josh's Goldilocks over here.
My washing machine doesn't work.
Oh no, why?
One of the shocks is broken on it, it looks like.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, so that's going to be heavy to fix. It's not an expensive part, it's just getting the drum aligned properly is going to be a pain.
Right.
Yeah, just various things. And I'm like, okay. I'm just like, I wish there was something I could do. I'll just snap my fingers and my whole apartment would be organized, like, automatically. But I'm currently sitting in my office on the love seat because I don't have a desk cleared off. I don't have a chair for said desk. Hopefully next week I have everything in working order in here, but it's been a very stressful week. I was extremely stressed out during our King's Fall run on Saturday. We finished, and I think I literally went straight to sleep when we finished. I don't think I did anything else. I don't even think I bothered with dinner. I just completely collapsed.
That's fair.
So, as such, I have not gotten a chance to play too much of the season. I finally got to play some the other day, and that's pretty much because I woke up in the middle of the night since it was so hot. It was 80 degrees in my apartment the first night we stayed here.
Oh, gross.
I got up, got my Xbox out of the box that was sitting by the TV, and just hooked it up really basic to the back of the TV. And thank God, since I kept all the same network info from AT&T, it just automatically allowed my Xbox to hook up. And I sat down and did like maybe 2-3 hours of just like seasonal challenges and activities because I had like nothing else to do, and I was like, I gotta like wear myself down before I can go to sleep. So yeah, I haven't gotten to play with Ark that much. In fact, when I say not much, I mean at all. It's a little embarrassing. We're 10 days into the season, haven't even gotten to touch Ark yet. But next week, I promise we are talking Ark 3.0. It's fixed for... The resilience bug is fixed for Titans and Warlocks as of today's hotfix.
Good, because I was getting murdered out there.
Yeah, I look forward to being able to talk about that next week. And talk about some more of the weapon roles now that I'll have some time to play around with them. But man, just I guess kind of kick the show off tonight. King's Fall, man, just as good as we remember it.
Great,
just as good.
I'm excited because I'm running with some of the Discord, some of the LFG this weekend. So
yes,
I'm excited to do it. And look, I heard some things, Andre. I heard through the grapevine that you thought King's Fall was overrated. You can see yourself out, sir.
Yeah, bye. It's a shame we gotta disown you and get you out of here. I don't know if I'll answer your question this week.
Disappointed. Although I'm excited, but I hear some of the encounters have changed a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, War Priest has changed a little bit, and
so what's different?
Daughters and Oryx have changed a little bit. So War Priest, if I remember correctly, I think the Knights changed from how the Knights spawn changed from D1. And I will say that in Daughters and in Oryx, they actually kind of like streamlined how the platforms appear now. Now, not everybody has to get on their platforms; only the beginning and the end one have to.
Oh, okay.
Which actually makes it, I think, a lot easier.
Yeah,
personally,
that sounds way easier.
but you have to do it 3 times now instead of just 1.
Oh,
that's the trade-off.
Well, still.
I think that's fine though, because we've had so much experience, like in the Ascendant plane at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That being torn between worlds isn't that big of a deal. The ogres die super fast. The Lightbearer Knights go down pretty easily. But yeah, I mean, the major DPS check for the raid is definitely War Priest. Golgoroth is completely unchanged. There's nothing different about Golgoroth.
Cool.
Which both made me happy and took me a while to like grasp, because then I remembered like, oh shit, I actually don't remember how to do Golgoroth, and I'm like running on I'm literally running on fumes right now. When we were in hour 3 of the raid, funny enough, War Priest went faster for us than Golgoroth.
Oh, really? War Priest?
Yeah.
Like, I remember War Priest, like, once you get the mechanics down, being super easy.
We nailed War Priest on the 2nd try.
Nice.
I don't believe we did it first try. We may, yeah, we didn't do it first try. I think we wiped once. Priest ended up actually not being bad at all. Totems we did on the 2nd try, the 2nd or 3rd real try of totems, so we got that down. That's the only encounter with champs, by the way. Unstoppable ogres. That's it. Will fucking wreck you if you don't deal with them quickly.
Yeah.
Daughters was a joke. I mean, like 2nd or 3rd real try there, we all took Wardcliff Coil in.
Yeah, Daughters have always been kind of a joke, though. I never really found Daughters to be hard.
Daughters isn't hard. It's just, it's hard in the sense of you're learning how the Torn mechanic works, essentially. Oryx was pretty easy, too. Like, I'm not going to lie. Oryx was not that bad. Oryx was an interesting DPS check. As long as people don't pay it, as long as people pay attention, not don't pay attention, as long as they do pay attention, you're pretty okay in Oryx. War Priest is definitely, I would say, the hardest DPS check.
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun. I'm hoping to do a King's Fall spoiler cast with Nerd Generalists sometime early next week. Of course, I intended to do it this past week, but
yeah,
I was busy getting rained out of my apartment.
Yeah.
So me and him are going to sit down and do it. I wanted the perspective of someone who never did King's Fall in D1 to come join.
Yeah.
When by comparison, it's my all-time favorite piece of Destiny content.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. So it's funny because our friend Mitch, who I play a lot with, we actually like we just went into that first the orbs at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We just went in there to just like kind of hype ourselves up. We weren't like trying to do the raid or anything because it was just us two. But we went into like that room that you spawn into, and you just see the orbs like floating on those pillars. Like it just brought back all these memories and just good feelings, and I was so excited when we got in there. I'm like, we got to get in here. We got to do this.
Seeing Oryx spawn in the encounter was just so good. Like seeing the comparison videos of how he does it in D1 versus this one, it's like, man, the D1 one actually looks really good. It's held up really well, but this was special.
Yeah.
And hearing the audible reactions of some of the people in our rating group who had, because when we went through there on day one, only my friend Matt and myself had done it, but we haven't done it obviously in like 6 or 7 years. Like we did it when it first came out. We only did a handful of runs and then we were done.
Mm-hmm. I think the last time I did it was when they brought back all the raids at the end of D1 before D2 launched, right? Like that was
yeah.
Like, I think that was the last time I did it. Because
I'd say that's when the vast majority of us probably touched it last, right? Like I don't know too many people who were booting up D1 and going in and doing raids. The mechanics are just so different. And, like it was interesting, like trying to figure out what we were going to use for damage because obviously we went for Storm Chaser, but it's like you didn't have linear fusions, you didn't have either type of grenade launcher, you didn't have SMGs, you didn't have glaives, you really didn't have swords. Like getting the hang of what things are like and just like the power creep and the abilities, like you had to kind of approach things totally differently, and I think in a lot of ways that made this an easier raid. Like, it was definitely, with the exception of Golgoroth, it was easier than I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I did still remember a good chunk of the Golgoroth puzzle, or the before Golgoroth, I guess I should say,
Mm-hmm.
after War Priest, before Golgi, to get to the secret chest. I did remember where most of the paths were there. Glad that remained unchanged. The secret chest after the jumping puzzle on the ships, that's still there. And they've got other secret ones you can work on throughout like the guaranteed deep sight chest throughout the raid. That's a lot of fun too. I look forward to getting in and doing another run though. I'm really hoping to get in on one this weekend. If not, I will definitely be in there next week and probably every week for the foreseeable future, trying to get those weapons.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be in there Friday and probably Saturday night and maybe Sunday night. Who knows?
I got the fusion. I got 2 drops of the sniper, and I forget what other weapon I got. I think I got one other weapon.
The heavy machine gun I remember being awesome.
I did not get the LMG. I got 3 pieces of armor though. I got the helmet, the chest piece, and the cloak.
Nice.
That
armor. I can hear just A1 Johnny just being like, super sexual about these Hive armor pieces.
Yeah, it's a little not safe for work. Overall, though, I mean, man, King's Fall just. I've seen so many reactions from people who were like, "Man, this was the best thing in D1. It's now the best thing it's now the best trade in D2." Like, some who have cleared it in both games are saying, yeah, it's the king has returned. Like, the best raid ever has returned. Long live the king, except without Scar. Like, Scar's not throwing Vow of the Disciple off the cliff or anything here. No. But I do think this was like the heat check move. I feel from a lot of people who are in leadership positions at Bungie now got their start on this raid in particular.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is where Luke Smith kind of became like prominent there, right? Like
Luke rose to prominence with the Taken King because he was actually the expansion director.
Mm-hmm.
Vault of Glass had been such a hit internally, that and Crota, that they elevated him to be the head of the Taken King project, and as such, he also oversaw Last Wish. After that is when they stopped having him do expansions, or they have the game director do the expansion and do the raid. They just decided to have other teams oversee it. But King's Fall, I mean, Vault of Glass, that's how he was introduced for so long. Luke Smith is the architect of the Vault of Glass and this and that. Like, that's him stepping in on Vault of Glass maybe a year and a half before release is really what made raids what they would become. He wanted a World of Warcraft style experience. But for example, Joe Blackburn, now game director, he said multiple times, like, "Hey, King's Fall is the first thing I ever worked on. To see that in D2 is just something really special."
Mm-hmm.
I believe Justin Truman worked on it at one point. We know that the guys who are heading up the campaign team now got their start on designing encounters in King's Fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
you look at things like the dunking mechanic. Beginning, like you were talking about the orb dunking,
mm-hmm.
That was such a foreign concept to us at the time, and now that's in like every fucking activity.
Yeah, even Gambit, Josh's favorite.
Oh my god, fuck Gambit. That was just for you, buddy. Fuck Gambit. Nobody likes Gambit. Gambit's a waste of space. I really, really, really like King's Fall set kind of the tone for what the game would become down the line, and I think if you look at certain raids, you can kind of see where that happens. Like, almost every time a raid comes out and there's new mechanics, it's almost like if it's a well-received raid, it's almost like a harbinger of what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
It may take you a little while to get there, but it's a harbinger of what's to come. Like, I would say some of the encounters in in Leviathan, for example, like picking up the craniums and whatnot, like that's something that played out in multiple different activities and encounters and endgame things. The orb dunking, like we said, there's stuff in the Wrath of the Machine that would come forward into Destiny 2. There's so many different things, and that makes me like very nervous. Like, oh god, are we gonna get like we got like 30 pictures we had to memorize during Vow. Am I going to get like a whole syllabus for the next raid? Like, am I going to get required Bife videos I have to watch before I can come in or something? Right. Just like completely ridiculously. Mm-hmm. It's ludicrous, and it's like, I say it half jokingly, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like, I think that Bungie has made the raid so good and so intricate. Like, now, like, hats off to Elysium. 3rd raid in a row that they've gotten world's first.
Yeah.
That's just wild. And they were behind by a full encounter at one point on the first run that they had to do. They had a guy who was only pulling 10 FPS, so he had to reset his whole computer. And it was like when they were at War Priest, I think.
Oh, no.
They were either at Totems or at War Priest when they had to do it. And they just blew straight through and caught up. Datto, I think, had the first team at Oryx. And them and Elysium kind of like fought back and forth for a little bit before Elysium definitely pulled ahead. Challenge mode, of course, challenge mode on contest mode, you have to do all the challenges. If you finish the phase but you don't do the challenges, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
And like one of the ones, for example, like in Fogoth, like I think it's in Fogoth, everybody has to take his gaze at least once.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't retake the gaze until everybody has taken it.
Yeah. Which honestly, like when that was a challenge in D1, we ended up just doing it that way in general because we felt like it was easier almost.
Yeah, I think it might be like it could be a Taniks in Deepstone Crypt situation where like, oh, we go dunk all 4 orbs and it makes your damage phase so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
We may take that approach in the future, but just I don't know. I like the buff trading in totems a lot. There's a lot of like subtle changes that I think are really good. The lighting has never been better in Destiny than it was in this particular reprised raid.
Oh my gosh, dude! I saw like there is was it somebody? It was either Glad or Datto or someone put like the side by side of orcs climbing up into the chamber.
Yeah,
and I was like, they did the Destiny one. I'm like, oh, that still looks pretty good. But then they showed him climb up in D2. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, what is this running on a PS2? I don't understand.
It's a special kind of terrifying.
Oh, it's so good, man. And like still to this day, man, there's nothing as terrifying as watching orcs climb up into that chamber to start the encounter.
I will say Crota chasing me around with a giant fucking sword was pretty high up there.
Yeah, but Crota's a lot smaller than Oryx is.
It's true. It's true. So if you haven't done Kingsfall, obviously go in and do it. We're a lot of us in the Discord have been willing to do and have offered to do Sherpa runs.
Mm-hmm.
I, for one, would really, really, really like to do some more Kingsfall. I got to get the Pulse and I got to get the Scout. The Scout is already considered to be the best Scout in the game, just like by default.
Yeah, it was really good in D1 too. I remember.
Yeah, I had that, and I had the Sniper in D1. I remember that. So I'm very excited to go in and get that Scout Rifle Supremacy. But yeah, so King's Fall, man. King's fucking Fall. We do have one thing in the TWAB about King's Fall. I wanted to read out some of the numbers that are here. Let me get to it. God damn it. Of course I don't have the TWAB open in my tab.
Why not?
It was, and it got closed somehow. So the total number of players that entered the raid, 458,120. And then in challenge mode, which is after you got the normal, or after you get the normal contest clear, trying to compete for world's first, 35,678.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. That's about on par. It really didn't dip that much from the day one stats of Vow, Deepstone, or VOG, and those released on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, that's right. This released on Friday.
The amount of people who actually cleared Oryx. So I should say the numbers that I just gave you, and I said they were on par. That's typically on par with who finishes the raid in contest mode. 17,107 finished Oryx on challenge mode. So nice. That actually is down by about half of what Vow and Deepstone were.
I like how the TWAB says players that yeeted orcs into oblivion.
Can I pick a bone here? I think I said this last week, but I'm actually still very worked up about this. Like, I hate that this is the raid they chose not to do a jacket for.
Yeah. I'm shocked.
And I am 100% being salty because it's my favorite thing, but I'd rather have a jacket for King's Fall than a fucking raid ring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I just, okay, cool. Like, you talk about something that was like a funny novelty one time, and now we've suddenly had 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like one every summer, it seems.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish there was like a King's Fall shirt or something, even if it wasn't a Bungie reward and it was just in the shop, because I think that the title is cool. It's Kingslayer. I think the art print looks really good. I heard great things about the Vogue one and really regretted not buying it, so I'm going to be ordering the King's Fall one to frame and put up in my office. There's the raid pin that they're doing, because they're going to do raid and dungeon pins, all the time now, and it has Oryx on it, which looks really cool. But like, man, I just really wish there was like, kind of like in Garden, they did a shirt with the Sanctified Mind on it. Like, give me one with Oryx, man.
Yeah.
Give me one with Oryx. Like in one of those like sketched out style cutscenes that we've had.
Oh yeah.
I think that could be really cool. But anyways, I digress. I don't need more Destiny shirts. I needed to save some money. I bought the Lightfall Collector's Edition last week, which is a problem.
Still available, by the way.
They made a lot extra this time, and I do think that also what's contributing to that is that oh god, I just lost my train of thought. It's not like the Vexfish isn't something that people are going crazy for like they did a Hive Ghost.
Yeah.
Like the Hive Ghost was a unique thing that everyone went apeshit for right away.
Yeah, well the Puka Fish Ghost should have been in Lightfall, like with Lightfall. Like I understand.
It is.
Like I mean like it should have been the collector's edition thing with Lightfall, or with Beyond Light. Sorry.
I mean, if it had actually been in the game, sure. I understand why it was the Shard of Darkness. I just think, like, man, the Beyond Light Collector's Edition was pretty lackluster. Like, I look at the ones they've done since Shadowkeep.
Yeah.
And that's, like, the odd man out for me, I think.
Yeah. No, Lightfall was... God, I keep calling it Lightfall. Beyond Light was, like, really kind of disappointing. Like, I didn't even really care.
In terms of like the collector's edition, sure. Like I still think I think the campaign, like storyline, obviously was solid. We've both talked about it ad nauseum.
I just meant the collector's edition. I didn't mean that.
And I think that was like kind of a special situation too. Like we were in the like worst parts of the pandemic at that point.
Yeah.
That was when they had to give it the 3-month delay too.
Yeah.
Out of September. So I'm not overly shocked that was ultimately a bit disappointing. But I think they kind of heard that feedback, because I mean, you look at the Witch Queen one when they gave us the Hive Ghost and the music box, but the music box interacts with so much different stuff, and you have to figure out puzzles related to it and everything. I think that was really cool. Look forward to seeing what the Lightfall Collector's Edition is like. I had to update all my shipping info for what I have it on pre-order, and I was a little embarrassed to send them like 7 order numbers the other day and be like, all this has to ship to my new place.
Wow. So,
definitely very excited about collector's editions, about more merch that I'm buying. But in regards to King's Fall, I'm going to save a lot of money because there's no jacket, and I'm not buying a Oryx raid ring.
Yeah,
just saying.
I'm not buying it.
That's where I draw the line on my Bungie merch. Not the $250 Nerf gun. It's the raid ring.
Here's the thing, though: if they make an Oryx statue, the same as
if they make one like the fucking Savathun statue, I'm buying it.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm buying it straight up.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I want for my birthday or Christmas is that Savathun statue.
Our friend Colonel Panic got the Savathun statue, and he got his shipping info the other day.
Yeah, cool.
I'm very, very curious to see what that looks like in person, and I'm sure it's going to make me immensely mad that I decided to pull the trigger on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things like my girlfriend said I could pull the trigger, and I was like, no, this feels like a test.
This feels like a test.
This feels like a test. Like, I'm the guy who just spent, over the last, 12 months, easily $300-something on lightsabers. Okay, I don't think I can get away with this again. Oh, we have actual, things we need to buy for this apartment, and things that we'd like to do, and, I don't think that me buying a $200 Numbskull statue is in the budget that I made up. So
yeah, look, if they make an Oryx one though, I don't.
If they make an Oryx one, I'm prepared to take out a small loan.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not even joking. I'm fully prepared to borrow money from people to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like a little Guardians though, like a little Hunter, Titan, and Warlock. Just for scale. Give me to him D&D miniature. That would be great.
Yeah. I do like the Numbskull statues though. I gotta.
I do as well. It feels like after this season though, Saint has to be the next one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Shaxx is the next one, supposedly leaked by that big bad toy store. So
that's true.
I don't know. True. I mean, I would love a Saint 14. I would love a Mithrax. Give me Mithrax.
I've told you, if Mithrax happens, unspeakable things are going to be committed to make sure that I secure one in the first batch.
Look, I just want every single character in these stupid Numbskull statues, and I don't care. That's all I have to say.
Let's hit a couple things from the TWAB. Light TWAB this week, light episode this week. Let's hit it real quick.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. There's some stuff in here about Crucible, about loose skill-based matchmaking. SBMM, you've probably seen a lot of people complaining about this if you follow prominent Crucible players. Full disclosure, I have not had a chance to actually sit down and play any Control yet this season. I played a little bit of Mayhem to unwind one night right before my move, and that's about all I've been able to sit down and do in terms of Crucible. A couple people I talked to said they didn't really notice a huge change, but I've seen prominent PvP players have been upset and complaining because, I've never had so many people leave my matches before. And somebody I like to follow on Twitter, JP Deathblade, he kind of did the math real fast. Bungie says that people who quit matches are up from 8% to 12%. So if you had as many players as they say that they had here in the first week, which is, let me get that number. They gave us a number, 140,000 more hours of Crucible. That's not what we're looking for. There was one, but it came out to something like over 100,000 players, unique players were quitting out of their matches last week. And I can't believe I'm having to have this conversation about casual Crucible, right? But maybe it's time to start implementing you left your team penalty. I mean, we all have things that come up in life, right? Like a kid falls and hurts themselves, we got to throw our controller down. Emergency happens, etc. But I think there's got to be some. You have to do something to punish them because people are just leaving because they don't like the matchup that they're up against. Oh, I'm up against a 4 or 5 stack. I got to get out of here. And I don't think that implementing freelance for every single game type is a remotely feasible option either.
I don't think it is either.
So I don't know what you do. If you're Bungie, I think you're between a rock and a hard place because you know that you have. And Alan Blaine, to his credit, does talk a lot about basically we know that the buck stops with us, it's in our DNA here. But starting at reset on August 23rd, loose skill-based matchmaking Control was supposed to go live. Instead, players who joined Control found they were matched up against anyone and everyone. Skill didn't matter, neither did platform. And it's funny because I had already seen people complaining about skill-based matchmaking, and then they realized when Bungie tweeted out at 7 o'clock Central that nothing had really happened, and they were just complaining to complain. This illustrates why we do a few things. One, we do our updates and weekly resets on Tuesday rather than Friday, so when something unexpected happens, no one pulls weekend heroics to fix the game. And two, we make changes in one location first to make sure it's stable before expanding it to other uses, especially when we are exercising systems that have not been changed recently. Um, he talks a little bit about default matchmaking and what the deal is with matchmaking times. So like them being up slightly is actually a sign of health that's looking for the best possible match and not just based on connection. Um, In its first week of season, a little under 140,000 more hours of Control had been played than in the first week of season of The Haunted. We had an 11% increase in the total number of players playing Control. Talks about matchmaking times a little bit. They went up on average 5 to 10 seconds. That's healthy because it means it's evaluating the best possible experience for you. Skill differences we see in Control is pretty stark. With that skill-based matchmaking, only 10% of matches had 600 or less skill difference between the highest and the lowest players. With SBMM on, we see 80% of games have had separation have had that separation or less. For 90% of games without skill-based matchmaking, the average skill of all players within a game was between 300 and negative 100. We see a significant number of games with a high average of 600 skill and regularly low as negative 500. Game outcomes. Mercy games are down 4%, not as much as we hope, but shrinking a little day by day. And games where the score threshold has been met remain steady, and games that go by time rose by 4%. These are all well within range, and we expect the first few weeks will be more chaotic than normal. As players readjust their playstyles from optimized play against a wide variety of players to optimized play against similarly skilled players, the skill system will adjust to reflect those changes. Here's the one about quitting. Percentage of players quitting before the end of matches has risen from 8 to 12% in the first week. This is especially bad with matches designed to be balanced with 12 equally skilled players. We're still investigating to see if this is a specific cohort of people or play style, or if this is natural player reaction to a new system. I will tell you right now, I do think that part of it is just I don't want to be here or it was an accident that I loaded in. But God damn, man, I don't know. If I saw a few of these guys load into Crucible, I may not. I may be talking a tall tale here. I may be bailing out of there too.
Wow.
Most of the analytics have been positive. Considering this is a new experience and will take folks some time to getting used to, we're taking a few steps now. We're extending the time that loose skill-based matchmaking will sit and wait for the best connection quality between group leaders. Hopefully this will increase the overall connection quality when matchmaking goes past 2 minutes. We have new analytics coming online soon, which should give us a better picture of the connection quality between all players within minutes and or within matches and not just group leaders. We're going to be adding quitter protection to Crucible in a future patch. So that's what we're asking on, quitter protection. So, and then on Tuesday is Iron Banner, man. There's not a whole lot here, but I do think it's substantial enough. Like, they're starting to share some of those statistics with us, which now it seems like they're going to be able to share those more and more.
Yeah.
Rather than just leaving you around guessing. I don't know. Like, any thoughts? I don't know if you've been able to play any Crucible yet either, Corey.
I only played some Mayhem to get my seasonal chunk done. You know, like the seasonal challenge. So, I mean, Crucible is not really my thing.
I've been screaming about wanting skill-based for a while now. I've never had a problem with that or with connection-based, honestly. So, I look forward to seeing how I actually fare in there. That's for sure.
Yeah. I just, I want to go have fun. I don't want to. Crucible is just not my thing.
Yeah. We talked about Kingsfall already. Honestly, that's really about it. Like, I'm not going to read through this whole interview with Elysium. If you guys want to read it, you can go do it. They are working on the back end for things with photosensitivity. For people who like flashing lights cause seizures, because there are a lot of areas where that can happen. New Prime Gaming bundle featuring Darcy.
Ooh, Darcy
is up. Yeah, there's a special emblem and a ghost projection. They're both in there. If you have not watched the movie of the week, which is Titans versus Kingsfall, I encourage you to go watch it.
Was that the one where they're like dashing through the air through the?
It's the one where they're doing the thunder crashes continuously all the way up to Oryx.
Yeah. That one was pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I liked that one. man, I look forward to seeing what else comes out of all this. Um, there was one other one that I was going to read out. With all the PvP talk, please remember we are always taking in feedback. Sometimes that feedback won't make it into the game for a billion and one different reasons, but you never know in what other ways your input can inspire equally important changes to the world of Destiny. There were some sentiments made today and like yesterday and stuff like about, you know, Crucible issues and basically being like, man, if you guys were like a little bit more respectful, there would probably be a bigger, deeper conversation for everybody to be a part of, and not just a handful of content creators.
Yeah.
But you know, we all know how I feel about the PvP mains.
I don't know, Josh. Tell me, I forget.
Fuck them. Too aggressive. Too aggressive.
I don't think it was aggressive enough.
But yeah, there's really not a lot. There's not a lot. First couple twabs of a season, especially after the reveal of an expansion, are usually pretty light. They don't have any subclass 3.0 stuff to go over with us right now. So things may be a little easy pickings for a couple weeks, which honestly is just, I think, relieving news to both of us right now.
Yeah.
Like,
we've been so go like for the last couple months that it's just like,
yeah, like not even just in game, like just in general, like life has just been like nonstop, like pedal to the metal, and like I'm feeling it tonight because I'm like feeling myself fading, and hoping I don't accidentally doze off in my chair while we're doing this. But
the light fades.
I wanted to talk about something before we get to listener questions and lore corner, since this is a fairly short episode, and that's on the topic of reusing content. There was a minor, of course, where else from it, Reddit and Twitter controversy this week. When you go and do the pirate hideout, basically the end of the storyline for this week, you go in and the hideout is almost exactly a recreation of one of the lost sectors from Mars.
Mm-hmm.
I almost said from the moon, from Mars in Destiny 2. It's where we actually get the lore, because Aldrin's ship is there, and we get the lore that he's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
That he definitely survived the bombing of Mara's fleet by Oryx. He was one of the only survivors, if not the only one.
Yeah.
And there were actually people upset, getting mad that Bungie used this. And it's like, you know what? It's a 90-second mission. Why are you so worked up about this? Like, I guarantee you, nobody fucking cares that they used a lost sector. Like, I would rather see them do reskins on this kind of stuff so that we can get actual stuff built for important things.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't either.
I just, especially a game that's this big and this like complex mechanically and all the things that are available to players now, like if they reskinned a lost sector, who cares? It is one mission. It's one mission.
It's one mission you're going to be in for less than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're never coming back to. Like, who fucking cares? If you think that's bad, like, I invite you to load into Catch Crash, which a lot of the interiors there are lifted straight from the Shadow Thief Strike.
Yeah.
In D1. And it makes sense to use this shit again.
Yeah. Or, you know, you've been going back to D1, you go in, and when you get your subclass, it's on a freaking Crucible map, first of all. It's not even like a reskinned Crucible map. It's just a Crucible map. You know, like, they've done this stuff all the time. Not all the time, but
it's just frustrating, and it's just annoying at this point to see these complaints, because it feels like, damn, y'all are really going to complain about literally anything you can, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else to tell you guys, because you're clearly not going to be happy with anything.
It's like no wonder Bungie doesn't want to like continue to.
Nobody hates Destiny more than Destiny players. Like, right. It's something I've said about Star Wars for years. But man, if it's not becoming true with things like Destiny and Halo, like I don't get it. I guess I just wanted to get your take on that. That was something that's like kind of been sweeping through in the last 24 hours, and it seems like it's dying down today.
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel like it's totally gone either. Like, I'm sure this is going to be something that they continue to ding Bungie for a long time. Even though Joe Blackburn did clarify last week, they have no plans to vault any more expansion content from anything. But he basically said never say never. He basically was like, I'm saying that so that you guys don't like murder me.
Yeah. He
Like,
also had to
there
clarify
are
that they're
always,
vaulting the season stuff. They are vaulting the season stuff.
which they need to.
Yeah.
But they were always clear about that from the beginning. Like, they won't always vault all of it. If it makes sense to stick around, they'll let it stick around. I'd be very surprised if the Leviathan went away and they didn't just like repurpose it for next year.
Yeah.
I'd be a little surprised. The Leviathan's a massive fucking ship.
Especially
I could see
especially if the story goes where like you are fighting like if you're fighting Callus and you end up beating him or whatever, and Keitel ends up using the ship as her fleet, like as her fleet leader.
Yeah.
Like something like that.
I think that you have avenues you can go there, and I just think that overall, like, if there was something to stick around from the seasons we've seen so far, like the Psyops Battlegrounds feels pretty obvious that those are going to go to the Vanguard playlist, just like last year's Battlegrounds. I don't think the Sever missions will. They're just not long enough and dense enough to be able to do those in Vanguard Ops, I don't think. But I don't know. I think that there's some great things coming, obviously, when it comes to the strikes and the Vanguard playlist. So we talk about things that are going to be carried over. I just wonder how much gets carried over. Like, how much are you really going to like beef up Destiny 2 between now and the final shape? Because they gave another interview. Bungie gave another interview today where they said they are dead set on getting LFG here by the time of the quote next D1 raid, the next reprise D1 raid, and that they are supremely confident, quote unquote, that they will be able to release that they will be able to. Now I'm losing my train of thought. They'll be able to implement LFG before the final shape. I would be very surprised if it didn't soft launch with whatever raid comes back next year, which at this point I think we can pretty much pencil in that it's King's Fall.
You mean...
Or not King's Fall, Wrath of the Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Like I said, when I say I have had almost no sleep this week, this is what you're getting.
That's fine.
Wrath of the Machine feels like an obvious choice. They would be able to tie it into the seasonal narrative of, well, we need absolutely everything we can against the darkness. Let's go with some of the Cloud Riders and find, some remnants of Siva in a lab. You could set up a really great story where, Ana and Rasputin are there, and maybe it causes Rasputin and Saladin to come to an agreement. We just want to protect humanity.
That would be really interesting.
And that'd be really powerful.
Yeah.
So, Corey, with that being said,
yes.
Yes. Let's go to questions.
Questions.
Yeah. Sorry, it's definitely it's a bit of a slow week, but the beginning of seasons always are. I want to hit the seasonal story pretty hard and heavy next week. Really start delving into all that. We're gonna hit some lore tonight, but I want to dive into the story more next week. Our first question comes to us from the Discord. We have we have several questions, actually. I thought we only had like 3 or 4. We have like 7 of them in here. From Andre. We got to kick off with Andre's question. Moving forward with Lightfall, all the cool new things we've been getting with the Strand, Grapple, etc., what's one thing you would like to see brought to life going forward, as in a new social space, 2-person sparrows, etc.? For me, the answer is obvious. I've been really clear about this for a long time. Player ships. Player ships is the next bastion of what they do for a social space, I think.
Yeah. I think it would be cool, too, if like you had your own personal ship and then you had like a clan ship. Where, like,
I was just about to say that. I think that would be really cool if or you had like a clan wing.
Yeah. Where like, you could see what all like your clan is doing, or they could like decorate this wing of your ship or whatever. I think that would be really cool. Or like it could be like a dock for your clan. Like your ship, you could fly your ship to your clan ship and you could dock in, and like you'd have your own room in the clan ship and like, just kind of hang out. I think it would be super cool.
Yeah, I think like the hangar or like a Sparrow Garage would be like a cool place for like your clan to be. Like whoever's there in the ship with you, like, oh, there's a designated place for like friend sparrows or friendships to spawn in.
Yeah.
I like that. I want like a guild hall where like there's trophies of things that you've done as a clan. Like if you've gotten world's first, it would be really cool to see like a belt in there, for example. But just like give me trophies of these encounters. Like we have, Tanix's head. We basically gave to Elsie to put in the little hut out there. We
Yeah.
have that up there.
What is it
Let
doing?
me taxidermy some of these guys.
Let me predator that shit. Let me.
Can we get a Destiny? Is that the mobile game from NetEase, Destiny's Taxidermy?
Oh no.
Is that what it is?
Gross.
Trauma Center Destiny Edition?
Oh no, that's no. Hey, Nintendo could get a Destiny game.
It's true. It could actually run on their consoles. Maybe. It would still require a push to talk, though, so it's not worth it.
No, it'd be a cloud version.
Oh, God. Even worse. Let's see. A1 Johnny writes in, now that we have all the 3.0s, what subclass do you gravitate towards? I mean, not factoring in needing something specific for a specific activity. A tether or a well.
I mean, I still gravitate towards Void, towards Sentinel Titan. I mean, Bubble is life for me at this point in shield throwing. It's the one I'm most comfortable with. It's the one I know, like, I know I'm going to be at my best no matter what activity I'm doing with Void, and I got a lot of great exotics for Void, masterworked and done, because that's, my build is a Sentinel Titan. I have a bubble build. I have a shield throwing build. I have, that's where I'm most comfortable at.
I think for me, it's funny because I always played solar. I've always been a solar guy, but I really love, and I keep seeing people say that like they feel like Hunter's got the short stick with Void. And I'm like, really? I think we kind of flew under the radar, but if you really know how to use that kit, you know how to use it. I was doing so good with my dodges actually that I found out that when you dodge and go invisible in Golgoroth, you lose his gaze, which was a problem. I was trying to get away from the orbs that he shoots because I couldn't shoot him quick enough, and I dodged, and all of a sudden it went away, and we couldn't figure out why I was doing that. And finally, I just had to like botch a run to see if my theory was correct, and it was. It is what it is. I don't know. I want to play Arc before I make a definitive judgment, but I feel like as they are right now, I like Void best for the utility and for the abilities and like the buffs I can give my teammates. I like Solar a lot, but I would be hard pressed to say that Blade Barrage or Golden Gun are favorite supers for me. And not in a bad way. Like I still really like. I still really like Blade Barrage, but man, it's I don't know. Gunpowder Gamble was fun. I still gravitate towards Void. I just like the kit overall better. I'm hoping that Arc kind of changes that for me a little bit, though. Honestly, and for the record, Johnny said that even when it was bad, I always connected with the Striker Titan. It was the first super I popped as a Titan. It'll be the last super I cast before the darkness takes me. John always asks me, "Can I yeet it?"
That's why his name is Yeetus Deletus, right? I mean,
yeah, I was really hoping he would secretly do it to Oryx when we were final standing him. I really hoped Johnny had Striker Titan on without telling anybody, and then he just would run out there and yeet straight into Oryx. Our next question comes to us from Tiger Jesus 64.
Yeah, Tiger Jesus.
How long do you think we will get new aspects or fragments for the subclasses? I'm going to be honest, I don't really see us getting any more aspects. I could see us getting some more fragments. Aspects, if they did it, it would have to be like a a Forsaken level. Hey, we're adding all this functionality to these classes now.
Yeah.
I think if anything, they're about to have 5 subclasses to have to juggle for 3 different actual classes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see them doing too much more, especially with the light subclasses. I think they're going to let those cook for 3 to 6 months. Maybe we see another pass before Lightfall. But if anything were to get some updates now, I feel like it would be Stasis. But even that, I think, is next summer at best.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stasis was like the test bed for the light subclasses, right?
It was.
And then
it absolutely was.
And
Strand is going to run the same way.
Yeah, and so like they're looking at the light subclasses. They're like, okay, we've got this down. Maybe, like you said, maybe they do a pass at Stasis before or right after Strand comes out, just to like give it a little refresh. But after, like, I just don't see them really doing anything with the subclasses at this point. Especially if
I agree.
Especially if they're gonna maybe potentially add a sixth one with Final Shape. Like, I don't know. I don't see it.
We have our next question. God, we have seriously 7 or 8 questions tonight.
We still have one on Twitter too.
I will get to the Twitter one. I'm going through the Discord right now. Joasis writes in, what is your opinion on Origin perks, and what has been your favorite one so far?
I mean, I don't really have any opinion on Origin perks, to be honest. I don't really care about them, to be honest.
I kind of fall down in the same way. I think Vice Stinger is really the only one that I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I really, really like this one.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, I also struggle to say that there's one that I'm like absolutely in love with.
Yeah. I was thinking about the ones on the armor or the weapon. Yeah.
Because so Vice Stinger, for those who maybe don't remember, is the origin trait that's on a lot of Vice weapons like Crate and the new Taipan that we like, as well as Reed's Regret.
Yeah.
And damaging an enemy with this weapon has a small chance to reload the magazine and increase movement speed while aiming down sights. Bows receive faster draw speed and swords receive faster charge rate while this perk is active.
Yeah.
As
someone who uses Crate a lot, I love that. I love that perk.
Yeah. I think it's really good. I like that, and oh god, I'm trying to remember what the other one that I liked so much was. I want to say it was Psycho Hack, from the Savathun Throne World.
Yeah. Let me look it up.
Yeah, sustained damage from the weapon lowers the target's damage output for a short duration. Mm-hmm. Now, if only the Throne World weapons were fun to use.
Yeah, I don't even know if I could name you one Throne World weapon that I have either on me or in my vault, like, at all.
Yeah, I'd be hard pressed as well. I think I have a few from like when I was leveling that I just haven't deleted yet.
Yeah,
but that's about it. I just never found like any that I was super in love with. Rushjet writes in, what's something you do every time you play Destiny that does not involve Destiny? For example, I'm always playing music on Spotify when I play.
I mean, I'm usually listening to a podcast or watching something on a second screen, like I've been watching She-Hulk, so I've been, kind of.
I like to let TV that I've watched a few times through kind of play in the background sometimes, or I'll listen to a podcast. But I'm almost always in a party with friends, and I can't have music or anything going on because I will not be able to pay attention to all 3 things.
Yeah.
So I just, if I'm playing solo, I'm like grinding some stuff out, like grinding Legend Lost Sectors or something, I'll throw on a little bit of music, or I'll throw on a pod. Again, something I've seen a million times. I think Netflix is getting tired of me watching things like, I think they're getting tired of me watching Ted Lasso too many times. But we all have our comfort shows that we fall asleep to, so that's why I can't watch them in the middle of the afternoon. Corey, I'm going to let you answer this next question first.
All right.
How would you make Gambit worth spending time in again?
Oh, no. Why do I have to answer this question? I hate Gambit.
Because my solution is just delete it.
Yeah,
but
look, you know what you do, Josh. Here's what you do, okay?
You pull it out for 6 months, rebuild it, and relaunch it with Lightfall? I agree.
Yeah, or, just take it out, put some of your, junior people on it, and never bring it back. And you say, oh, you know what else needs reprised? Prison of Elders. You can bring that back. That's way better than Gambit ever was.
Yeah, I'd rather have it.
No Skolas, though. You can leave Skolas dead in the basement of prison. I don't care. Skolas could go,
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Rush, but You know, where Rush told us that Gambit is fine and okay. Please be nice to my son.
Here,
No, fuck Gambit.
here's the thing. Here's the nicest thing I can say about Gambit. Okay, it is a neat. It
Exists.
is a neat idea on paper, and it gave us the Drifter. Those are the two.
It did give
nicest
us.
things.
It did give us Drifter. I think Drifter's grown beyond Gambit now, though.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I know that, but like he exists because Gambit.
right, right.
So, but yeah, Gambit can go die in a fire. I don't care.
Yeah, Gambit's. Well,
Sorry.
it's over. No.
We got that cool scout rifle a couple seasons ago, though. I'll give it that.
Can die in a fire. Yeah, Servant Leader's pretty great. We have one final question, and it's on Twitter. We just got done with all the Discord questions. This question, I'm going to scroll all the way back to it, comes into us from TJ Kemp 405 over on Twitter. What exotic do you think they bring back for Wrath of the Machine, or do they make a new Siva weapon? And you and I both had a conversation going with him today because Outbreak would have been the logical choice, but that came back years ago.
Yeah.
So I think in my opinion, I think it has to be a new exotic.
Yeah. I mean, my thought was, I mean, I like your thought about the trace rifle. The Siva's trace rifle sounds really cool.
It just sounds so like easy.
Yeah. My thought
of any gun to ever be a trace rifle, a Siva stream makes the most sense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how viable it would be or how cool it would be, but my thought would be like you reforge Radagast's blade. I know I know you don't like that's technically not like a weapon, but it was the first artifact for Titans, so
it would be fine. I could see it happening. I was just trying to think of like exotics that were added with Rise of Iron, and
I mean,
there's really,
but that's not really.
If that was the fucking raid exotic, there would be riots in the street.
No, I mean I agree with you. I'm trying to think of exotics that came with Rise of Iron.
I think that Young Wolf's Howl would actually make sense. Something like along the line of what you said, except a little bit different. You said you wonder if they would take some of the old Iron Banner weapons and turn them into an exotic like Radagast Blade or Yolder's Hammer.
Yeah.
I would think that if Young Wolf's Howl comes back, I would love to see an exotic pursuit quest tied to Iron Banner.
Yeah.
That you could get that in, but it would have to be like in a season where we see the death of Saladin.
Oh,
or the season after.
Yeah. Okay. So I brought up a list of Rise of Iron exotics. I actually have a really cool idea that would tie into not only Rise of Iron, but into Siva. But you would have to really manipulate the weapon a little bit.
Hit me.
What if they brought Kvostov back as a Siva weapon?
That could be interesting. I mean, if Wrath of the Machine really is the raid next year, I would think that at that point, Kvostov would. I think it's a good idea. I just I've kind of become convinced thinking about like everything that's happening or could be happening, especially like if Earth is assaulted in Lightfall. Mm-hmm. Like, say we have to come back and fight our way through the streets again, like we did Red War style. Mm-hmm. I could see us having to pick up a Kvostov off the ground. Mm-hmm. And it being given to us during the course of the campaign. I feel like that's going to happen at some point. I'm actually shocked that they didn't put it in when they changed New Light to be the Cosmodrome.
Yeah. Well, the white square version is in there, like the
yes.
And I kept it when I started my hunter during New Light because I
think I did too.
I was like, I'm not getting tricked by this again.
No, we're not going through this yet again.
But the other weapons that were brought back, which could also be, I mean, they brought in Nemesis Star and Nova Mortis, Young Wolf's Howl, Trespasser's already back, Icebreaker Year 3.
Icebreaker's never coming back.
Yeah, I know Icebreakers, and something called Abandon. What is Abandon?
Abaddon was it was a solar LMG.
Oh, okay. I don't know how I got Abandoned out of that. I wish I could read. But out of those weapons, I feel like I mean, I don't even know what you would bring back out of that.
I don't think you can, and I think that's why it has to be an original weapon or like something we've only ever heard about, like in the lore, maybe.
Yeah. Which
Um,
would be what?
I don't know, but I don't think it would be an Iron Lord's weapon because Axis isn't the one that killed the Iron Lords.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why none of that makes sense to me.
Yeah, if they were going to bring back the Iron Lord's weapons, it would have to be there would have to be like a story reason where you're going into like Siva, like Site 6 or another site that
my idea would be like if you have a season where like Saladin dies, that you get a quest to unlock his axe as an exotic.
Yeah, but do you really want an axe and an exotic? What are Saladin's weapons?
Yes.
Like what weapon does he have besides the axe?
Yes. You get to summon his wolves.
Oh my god, that would be so cool. Yes, give me that. Give me that. give me a sparrow that runs with a pack of wolves behind it or in front of it. I don't care.
That would be pretty great. I would actually really love that. Give me a Cabal variant too with some war beasts.
Yeah. That'd be cool too. Man, I don't know what weapon you would bring back for this. I mean, I'm even looking at like I just don't know. I wish I had an answer.
I think we're very close to the point where they say, all right, no more D1 weapons are coming over. We're done. I'm a little surprised that Trespasser was actually the season pass exotic last season.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that just kind of feels like the ultimate laziness. Like, well, we're just going to throw in a weapon from, D1 here. Okay, cool. We can't do something like Dreg's Promise or anything because it has nothing to do with it.
I'm looking at D1 exotics that they could potentially bring back, and man, Necrochasm's in here. Oh my gosh, Fabian Strategy. What a waste of an exotic.
We've heard you. You want more Destiny 1 exotics. Here's Universal Remote.
Let's see. What about... No, that's not... Pocket Infinity's on this list.
I feel like we're at the point where none of them matter anymore. Like, we have so many better options in D2 now.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if all that we ever got back from this point was... oh, here's Wrath of the Machine, and that was the last major activity that they brought over, like before whatever we figure out what the fuck Goliath is, I would be okay with it.
Yeah.
I'd be okay if that was last pinnacle activity. Yes, I would like to see Prison of Elders redone. Yes, I'd like to see Crota reworked into a dungeon. But at that point, if they were to do this, they would almost certainly have to charge another like $10-15 for a content drop.
Yeah, but all those weapons are already in, Like, anything that matters is already in Destiny 2,
Yeah, I would largely agree.
Like, what are you going to bring over? No Land Beyond? Gross. No, keep that out, too. Universal Remote.
I'd like to see the exotic swords brought over, even though we have things that definitely do their functions now.
Yeah.
I think especially like Raise, even if it was just Raise Lighter, I think Raise Lighter is important enough because that's Shax's personal sword. I think that could be a really cool quest line you could do eventually. Like, when Shax helps out one of the next seasons in Lightfall and is like, well, we have to build up our arsenals again, blah, blah, blah. Like, you should take this blade. I'm returning it to you. I took it during the fight for the tower, and, now it's yours again. Something like that. I don't know. This is why I don't write Destiny. I would come up with shitty plot threads. Let's head to the lore quarter before I start dozing off on us.
Let's do it. Josh needs to go to bed.
I'm talking very rapidly right now because I can feel the sleep coming on.
Look, it's okay. It's okay. Invective would be a cool Siva shotgun, but that wouldn't be the...
I really think if final thoughts on Siva, if they were to do a Siva weapon, I think that there are a couple of logical choices. It would probably be a fast-firing weapon, I think, at first.
Yeah.
Such as an auto rifle, an SMG, a trace rifle. I still think trace rifle is the thing, because that's so unique.
Yeah.
And trace rifles you can do almost anything with. I feel like it would not be a glaive. It would not be a sword, I don't think.
No.
And I just don't know that it makes sense with anything else.
Yeah. It also depends on, I know we want to go to the lore corner and get off this topic, but it also depends on, what does Strand actually do? Like, are we gonna get
That's true. That's true.
are we gonna get Strand weapons? What are we gonna see from that too? So maybe we'll revisit this when Lightfall comes out and we know what Strand does exactly. Because I read yesterday that the the grappling hook actually acts as a grenade too in some capacity. So okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So
Let's hit it. Lore corner.
lore corner.
This is the first page out of the new book called Above All Else. I'm very excited reading this piece. It's a long, so I think this is going to be what we do this week, but I think it's important. So here we go. I'm pretty sure this is about Mithrax, by the way.
Yeah, Mithrax.
But I haven't been able to tell like for sure, but I want to say that it's Mithrax. My family named me Ithrix, Sturdy Heart, and held me aloft in the shadow of the great machine. My birth was chosen to extol my strength as a hatchling. My chosen name would be Aspirational. My chosen name would be Aspirational. On the day of my third molting, I chose the name Enox. Gentle hands. I would be the greatest weaver our house had ever known. I was so sure of it. Then our world ended. Then I was sure of nothing. Of course, now everything wants to just like go to hell.
Yeah. You all right? Everything good?
Yeah, hang on. Shit's fucking up for me. My browser decided this particular tab wants to mess up. It doesn't want to scroll down. All right. I think I got it fixed. The end of our civilization came from the outside in. It was like a hand slowly closing around a throat. At first, it didn't feel real. Reese was gone. My house was trapped aboard a ketch, knowing there was nothing at our backs. For so long, we broadcasted distress calls into the dark, hoping for others on the long drift to find us and offer succor. Help never came. Every satellite world we visited, the story was the same: desolation, death, despair. Weeks of searching turned into years, and I feared we were the only ship that slipped between those proverbial fingers of destruction. Were we the last? We had to continue hoping it wasn't so. As we drifted among the stars, we inevitably lost members of our house along the way. I wove the finest memorial shrouds for the dead, so they could they could rest in security and peace. Then, as the egg cloth ran out, we could not give them the dignity of binding. My gentle hands were eventually used to separate dead meat from carcass. We would not starve in the dark. My son was brought into a world of isolation, abandonment, and suffering. I should have crushed his egg and woven it into the cloth. A regret I will always carry. My sentimentality for the old world won out, and bitter hope for the future stayed my hand. I named him after my father. I did not know if we would carry on our house's tradition of birth names and chosen names. What purpose did it serve now? What did it matter? My son's father died weeks after the birth. He was not missed. It was better that way. His death was something I did not regret. It was years before we encountered another catch. It bore the sigil of the House of Dancers, renowned for their skill with machines and their generosity to those in need. Their Kel agreed to send an emissary to discuss our needs. I knew this emissary, Aramis, from when we were children. All I knew of her in adulthood was that she had a wife and a hatchlings. I had hoped the whirlwind had taken it all from her. I hated myself for wanting that. Aramis was no longer the meek child I once knew. That much was certain when I greeted her aboard my ketch. She brought two hatchlings with her, just barely old enough to walk on their own. They are mischievous little things, the round one constantly trying to tug the taller one's arms off, until Aramis disciplined them. I carried my son swaddled to my chest as a show of trust. Negotiations between us were tense. I quickly realized the House of Dancers had no interest in sharing their resources, but rather in assessing our own vulnerabilities. When it was clear to Aramis we could not easily be disabled and stripped of our ether, we found a compromise. House of Dancers would be supplied with materials for repairs, and in turn, we would take on some of their people, along with a fractional store of ether. She was sending them to die with us rather than condemn them to the cold and uncaring depths of space where her people could see. I learned who Aramis had become and what ideals she lived by. 2 hands in greeting, 2 hands concealed. It was an inequitable deal, and Aramis knew it. Your alternative is death, she offered me. A coward's voice slipped out of my mouth when I declined that choice. I asked her where her wife was, hoping I would inspire her to feel for a moment as hopeless as I did. She did not so much as flinch, then foisted the 2 hatchlings onto me. They were not hers, as I had assumed, but the first of the house of dancers that we would take in the exchange. Too many hands, not enough ether to go around. The simplest solution was also the most difficult one. We had to find a way to thin our numbers again. So this is kind of some of the first lore that we've had that really deals with the immediate, like, post-collapse world of the Elixni. And, man, you want to talk about some absolute, like, horrifying storytelling. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is absolutely the thing. And I don't really know how to deal with this because, as we all know, Mithrax has done some pretty dark shit. We don't know if this is Mithrax or not, but he becomes hardened through something. And I actually am kind of believing this may not be Mithrax, even though the name is very similar, simply because him and Spider, according to the lore, basically came up in the House of Wolves together. They served under Skolas until the House of Wolves fractured. And Mithrax, as we know, was changed when he met Sigurito. And of course, Spider went off and, did his own thing in the Tangled Shore for how many, centuries, how many, like, hundreds of years, probably at least 300 or 400.
Right.
And we know that the House of Wolves force at one point was big enough to destroy the city until Mara intervened. So I think this gives an interesting glimpse, though. Like, it kind of comes back to something that Saint said. Saint says at one point to Mithrax in Season of the Splicer, I watched so many of your commanders eat meat off the bones of dead humans, especially children. And Mithrax takes quite offense to that. He was like, well, I never did that. And it's been decreed throughout House Light that we are not doing this anymore and this and that. Anyone who does is, basically you're out.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think being able to glimpse into these other cultures is fascinating because we got a whole lot of Cabal lore between Chosen and Risen that was all about, what was going on. And then in Duality, we got an entire lore book that you collect with all the memories and stuff. And it's all Callus's perception of Keitel and memories of Keitel and whatnot. We just went through healing 3 characters of their traumas. Maybe we got to bring everyone in here. Who's going to go pick up Mithrax and be like, hey, man, you want to talk?
Yeah.
And I think Mithrax himself, like, even if this isn't him, has become such an imposing figure. Spider tries to pull a fast one over on everyone at the end of this mission. And he basically, a crow is ready to throw hands, and I'm pretty sure I would pick him in a fight.
Yeah.
So, there you have it. Whoever this is, new Aramis.
Yeah.
We back in the olden days. Watch this just be Tanix, but, like, spelled differently.
Yeah. Gross. Of course it would be.
Gross.
Of course it
Classic
would be.
Bungie.
Classic.
Classic Bungo. Classic Bungo.
Watch that be the next Numbskull statue, by the way. It's just Tanix.
I'd be so mad. I would never buy another one. Until the next one.
Yeah. Man.
Corey, get us out of here.
All right. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. You can follow us on
Just
Twitter.
listening.
Yeah. Well, the audio will go up on some sort of video-ish on YouTube.
Gotcha.
Not us, just like a still image or something, Hopefully we'll be returning to video form next week. By the way, YouTube only need 14 more subscribers for that sweet URL. So if you want to head on over there and hit that subscribe button.
I did want to drop one quick note. I just forgot. I forgot about this. We were talking about it in the Discord earlier today. I gotta find the post again. Ronnie posted this last night in the Discord, and it kind of took off on social media today.
Oh, the gold shader.
Yes,
thing.
there was there's a father who plays Destiny whose daughter, I believe, passed away in 2020, and to Ewing's sarcoma, which is an aggressive pediatric cancer, and he had gotten his group in Dad's Destiny the year before to go gold during the month of September because it's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and the gold is the color associated with it. And it went pretty viral. There were people picking up on it and reading it today, to the point where Bungie employees were catching on and being like, yeah, we're going to do like a lot of big Bungie accounts were like, posting not big Bungie accounts, I guess, but big Destiny players were posting images of like their raid team going into King's Fall wearing all gold armor.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see a lot of gold in the tower and you want to participate, that is there. I wanted to make sure we got that out there. I meant to do it at the top of the show and completely forgot until now.
Yeah. So wear gold. This is a good thing to spread awareness, and this is it's a sad story, but it's also an inspiring story, I would say. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people at Dado was asking. Some reporters from The Verge were tweeting about it. The Destiny memes account, Rogue Energy was tweeting about it. There were a lot of people who were all over this today.
Yeah.
So I love things like this. This is part of what I love about this community. And the person who really got it to spread was someone who does not play Destiny. But they saw it on Reddit and retweeted it. Ammunition had retweeted it last night, and it's got 20,000 likes and like 10,000 retweets so far. So, yeah. And it gained traction initially off the Destiny Fashion subreddit. So, this community can be very good. There are people tagging the community managers in this, and so I kind of want to share Liana's answer here as to why they weren't recognizing it in game or anything like that. She says, "Hey, we can't recognize it in game or post on the main Bungie page because we get asks like that a lot, and we can't do all of them. We would need an entire other studio to be able to. What we can do is amplify, which many of us are, and encourage our community to do the same. Conga line in the tower later on? ? That." I think that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense. There's tons of gold, as Dado points out. There's tons of gold shaders. Go crazy.
Yeah. I'm wearing one. So
I will be wearing the next time I log in. I'll be doing. I mean, even Xbox was getting in on this. So
yeah. So wear gold.
Wear gold.
Anyways, yeah. So you can follow us on Twitter at Tower Casuals. You can join our Discord. It's a really fun Discord. I'm actually really finding myself participating on Discord way more than I normally do. So
yeah, same.
Yeah, it's fun. So join the Discord. Leave us a 5-star rating or review if you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Josh, thank you for your time again tonight, as always. I know you're tired and busy and moving and stressed.
I promise this will be the last time that I'm half asleep during an episode. I will be back in new digs next week. Maybe have some of my fun toys back up on my walls. But yes, for now I rest. It is 9 o'clock and I will be in bed as soon as this is done.
Yeah. So you can find me at IamCoreyHD on Twitter and Instagram. Like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you listen. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.